Conference, and thank you for coming to this bipartisan announcement. I want to first start by thanking Lou Glazier of Michigan Future for all of the leadership that he has demonstrated and thought leadership that he's demonstrated over the years, and it's really Lou's hard work through the Michigan Future organization that has brought us to the point that brings us to this press announcement. So thanks to Lou's leadership, we have gathered legislative leaders from both parties, both chambers. I'm also proud to share this lectern with my friend Jim Holcomb, the President and Chief Executive Officer of the Michigan Chamber. I also want to acknowledge the friendship and support from Jeff Donofrio, the President and CEO of Business Leaders for Michigan. Jeff, Jim, thank you both for being here. Donna, Wayne, thank you for your public service, and thank you for your leadership on this particular issue. The Detroit Regional Chamber has joined with 24, let me say that again, 24 business organizations representing every corner of the great state of Michigan to support a significant increase in the Earned Income Tax Credit, the EITC. The beauty of this tax relief is multifold. As we see today, it has not only bipartisan support, but it has strong support from the business community. It has strong support from the equity community. The EITC is a refundable tax credit. Recipients get real money back in the form of a tax refund, putting real dollars in the pockets of people who need it the most. In the EITC tax relief that we are suggesting would take Michigan from a 6% EITC, which is, as you can tell, single digits, small, to 30%, which gets us into a more competitive range where the EITC would mean real dollars for real families. So let me turn it over next to my friend, Senator Wayne Schmidt.
Thanks, Andy. And before I start, I just want to say thank you for all of you being up here. I'm term limited. This is my final hurrah at the Detroit Chamber, but this is my district. It's Traverse City up to the Sioux, and of course, what a great stopping point here in Mackinac. So thank you for coming up here, and thank you for hosting your conference. And with that, again, thank you to the Detroit Regional Chamber and Michigan Future for elevating the issue of Earned Income Tax Credit. We are here today because of your voices and those of our entire stakeholder coalition. We appreciate your continued advocacy and partnership. Raising the EITC has been one of my longest legislative priorities, even when I first got elected back in 2008. The federal EITC has been around for many years and is the result of bipartisan collaboration that was ultimately signed into law by then-President Gerald Ford in 1975. Just like many years ago, we are here today in a bipartisan fashion, united in our desire to increase the EITC for working Michiganders. The EITC is pro-work tax credit. It's that simple. It's a policy designed to bolster the earnings of low-wage workers and offset some of the taxes they pay, providing the opportunity for struggling families to step up and out of poverty and towards meaningful economic security. And increasing the credit requires no additional government bureaucracy, allowing us to help working families without growing government. When the EITC has served its purpose and helped lift a family out of poverty, and income has increased, which is the goal, they no longer qualify for it. In fact, many beneficiaries use the EITC for just a few years. The EITC is the true definition of a hand up, not a handout. But let's talk about what a game changer, a significant increase would be for Michiganders. A single mother with 2 children making a little over, say, $17,000 gets about $350 from current law. If the EITC were to increase to 30% of the federal credit, that mother would receive almost $1,800. A couple with 2 children making about $37,000 a year would get nearly $800 more from the state for a total of $1,000. Research indicates that families mostly use the EITC to pay for necessities, repair homes, maintain vehicles that are needed for commuting to work, and in some cases, obtain additional education or training to boost their employability and earning power. Government does not need to be in the business of prescribing how a family spends their money, and the EIT does just that by preserving dignity and promoting economic stability. Increasing the EITC is gaining momentum, and our advocacy partners have helped raise this issue to one that's being discussed by legislative leadership and the administration. Michigan is in a position to implement a policy that truly makes sustainable changes for working Michiganders. And again, thank you to the Michigan Chamber, to Michigan Future, and all of the partners for offering a platform for civil discourse on this issue. And with that, I'd like to turn it over to my colleague, House Democratic Leader Donna Lasinski.
Thank you. I'm so proud to stand here with my friend, Senator Wayne Schmidt. Unfortunately, they forgot the little box I usually stand on, and the microphone's not moving. So, I am very proud to be here today discussing this truly bipartisan effort and to have joined Senator Schmidt in his now over a decade-long efforts to move this forward. When we're looking at, with all the details that Senator Schmidt described, I just want to kind of build on a couple of those points. One is this is about removing obstacles to work. This is a pro-work agenda. We know coming out of the challenging pandemic over the last couple of years, particularly for women, when we've seen, as has been typical for generations, a disproportionate amount of the household work falling on our shoulders, and now you're talking about kids learning at home. We have I think it's about 170,000 women who are yet to return to the labor workforce. We have a low labor participation rate in Michigan, and we need to be able to remove those obstacles and hurdles, as Senator Schmidt pointed out, with dignity. With the ability for a family, with the ability for a working individual to determine, do they need to use that money to better their transportation, to get to work on time, to even be able to get to work? Do they need it for child care? Do they need it to take an online course to get that better job, to be able to move into the job of the future while working a job today? And so when we look at that, another factor we've heard a lot about at this conference is affordable housing. EITC allows a worker who is already housed here in Michigan, who is ready and available to work, but may have an obstacle or a challenge to go to work. And we know that housing is a challenge. So let's take our folks who are already housed and make sure that they're in the labor force as well right now. One of the things that I'm here to do, as always, with my Republican colleagues and others, is to push the envelope a little bit. And I would love to see us approach 60% on this. That's the gauntlet I'm going to throw down. I know that as we look at research, as we look at things we've done on a bipartisan basis in the past, expanding Medicaid, where we know when you have a healthy person, they can get out and collect a healthy paycheck. We start to match these federal income tax credits, put real dollars for real work in real people's pockets. This will be a net benefit to our state, will help our economy grow, and our hope is that it will end up being a net benefit to the revenue streams in the state and an investment in our people and families. So let's stop talking about it for years. Let's get this done. We have a unique opportunity right now in Michigan to make transformational changes, generational change in our state, and we stand ready to work together as the business community on a bipartisan basis to get this done.
Good afternoon. Thanks, everyone, for being here. Thank you, Sandy, for the wonderful conference, for bringing this issue up. Senator Schmidt, Representative Lasinski, for your leadership. And I appreciate the press even covering it. This is what the people need to see. They need to see what happens when practical problem solvers get together and have civil discourse and really address issues that are important to people, that make a difference. And as the head of the Michigan Chamber, that's why we support this, why we're involved, because this is an incentive to work. One of the biggest barriers facing our members right now is talent attraction and retention, and anything we can do to make it easier for people to stay in the workforce is good. This is going to help real families, and it's going to help them kind of address the challenges they're facing now, especially the economy's challenging right now, and this is an important part of making sure that Michigan is going to be stronger in the workforce. Special thank you to Lou as well, who spent a lot of time with myself and our staff. He's not only worked on the issue, but he's been a great advocate for bringing people along and really helping us educate our members of why this is important in Michigan. I agree with the representative. It's time to stop talking. Let's get it passed. We need meaningful reform here in Michigan on this issue, and let's make sure we're helping the people in our state. Thanks.
All right. Wayne, Donna, Jim, thank you so much. We're open to a few questions here. The tough questions go to Lou. Yeah, Jonathan.
Yeah, for Senator Schmidt, obviously it's, Republicans control the legislature, your party. Where are you at in convincing your colleagues to include this in whatever, tax reform, tax cut deal we end up seeing?
Been working. Well, we already voted on it. We did that tax package, included it. We saw what the governor had proposed, and we included that in there. Of course, as the good leader said, I'd like it 30. 60 I'm not opposed to, but I do know the fiscal restraints, and also working with my good friend Senator Stamas on how it would be all paid for. That's more the barrier in making sure that we can keep this sustainable. We don't want to do something that's just a couple of years and then may have to cut it back or whatever. I was part of that back in 2011, and I have to give credit to former Senator and then Representative Judd Gilbert and myself making sure that we kept it, albeit only at 6%. But I remember those times, and I don't want to go back there again. So, finding that compromise, working with my good friend on that, and our partners. But I think we can get my Senate colleagues there. So. We're putting a variety of tax policies out there, tax credits. We've heard, obviously, from Leader Shirkey on some of his priorities. We've heard from the governor on her priorities. And as what we should be doing, it's going to take those of us that have worked together. I give credit to my good friend Donna there, Representative Lasinski on that, and my colleagues in the Senate, both sides of the aisle. There's a number of us that are working to get it done. And so that's just, it's part of the process. You all know it. Many of the people here know it. This is the way sausage gets made.
I can't talk about the entire community. I could talk about the Michigan Chamber. We haven't always, and what we've seen over time is the benefit of it. And sometimes that's what it takes. You have to keep re-looking at issues and making sure that you're making the decision best now and not just relying on past policy. We see it as a benefit to the state. We see it as a benefit to attracting and retaining jobs in the state, keeping people in the workforce, which is going to help our members. And they see it as an imperative to a strong economy is talent, and this is one way to retain the talent. That's why we support it.
From 6 to 20 is $265 million a year, and from 6 to 30 is $480. Yeah, it's basically 18 million per percentage point.
All right. Thank you all, Representative Lasinski, Senator Schmidt, Jim Holcomb, Lou Glazier, Jeff Donofrio. Thank you all for being here today, and thank you all for being here today.
Thanks, Sandy.
Yes, thank you.
Really appreciate that.